everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Unlimited with J and D. I'm Janelle, and I'm here with Danielle, my friend. And we have a fun topic today. We are wanting to discuss habits, particularly those good habits that really set us up for success in life and work. And so I know throughout my life, I've gone through moments where I feel like I've had some pretty solid habits that created a good routine and good rituals for myself. And then there's been moments where they've dropped off. And so I think in the different chapters of my life, I've needed different things. But I'm curious to hear from Danielle. What are some of the habits that she has in her daily routine that help her be her best self? And I'm, happy to share some of the things that have worked for me over the years. So, Danielle, hi.
Hi, Janelle. I love this topic.
Yeah, me too. Whether you call them habits or rituals, I kind of like the word rituals. It almost
Mhm.
romanticizes the act of having habits.
I love
These
that. Let's
these
call it
daily
that.
rituals. Okay, daily rituals for everyday success. I've known you for a while, and I think about you every now and then because I'll see people walking in the morning. And I know that you do morning walks because you told me this years ago that I think oftentimes your husband joins you and you'll have your coffee and you'll start your day talking with each other and going on a walk. And I always thought that was, um, one thing just really cute that the two of you walk together and talk about your day. But also, I imagine it's been a healthy way for you to start your day. And I say this because I don't have a morning ritual of walking, but I know a lot of people do, and I know that it's can be very beneficial. So, tell me more about that. Like, when did that start? And what other kind of daily rituals do you have that seem to make your days go better than if you don't do them?
Well, with the walking, Scott and I started to do that when the girls were pretty young. It was shortly
Mm.
after we moved to Vancouver, and we had an apartment that was right along that seawall. So it was just the perfect place to walk for a couple of miles. So we started doing that. And I remember they were really young. I thought, is this okay that we're just leaving them alone in the apartment right now? It's like they're probably going to wake up because we would get up pretty early and do
Hmm.
these walks. Starbucks, I think, opened at 5:30 or something. So we would get up and have our walk. And it was kind of like it became a non-negotiable for us. It was
Mm.
challenging to have these date nights. I know people talk about this all the time, like, oh, couples need to schedule date nights, especially when they have a family. But I felt like our morning walks were like our little dates
Mm.
where we would be able to just talk about things that were outside of the day-to-day responsibilities of raising children or what bills we need to pay or what work we needed to get done for that day. And it was actually a way to just kind of think more big picture, like it was a walk and
Mm.
talk. So
Mm.
we started that when they were really young, and it's been, yeah, I can't believe it's been a practice for so long for us now, or a ritual for so long.
Yeah.
And even choosing this home in San Diego, we considered, where are we going to walk? Like, even whatever we
Mm.
go anywhere, like, where are we going to have a morning walk?
So it's that important to you that even choosing where you're going to live
Hmm.
played a part. It was a priority in the decision making.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. And what do you think, like, do you have days where you miss the morning walk? Like
oh,
sometimes
totally.
you miss them? Yeah.
I mean, there
And
were so many days that were rainy in Vancouver. We're like, oh
yeah.
man, okay, we can't get our walk in today. But most of the time we would, even if it was raining a little bit. But
Hmm.
I'm not, I think you know this about me, that I'm not, or I value flexibility. So I'm not
Hmm.
that like, okay, I need to wake up at 6 a.m. I need to make my bed first thing in the morning so I win the day and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. And so
Win the day.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes we would miss the walk, but then we would try to do it in the evening. And
Mm,
that's something we're trying to do more now that we have Spike, our little puppy, is go for
mm,
an evening walk too.
hmm. I
But
really like
yeah.
this notion of it being kind of like your date for the day, that just the
Mhm.
two of you. And when you said that it's outside the day-to-day maybe responsibilities of parenting, I really got that as well because when you're in the thick of parenting and you're in the house and you've got, the dishes and the laundry and all that, you're in the house with your spouse. And a lot of times it's logistics that you're discussing
Oh yeah, and it's
because
not hot.
you're in the middle of it. It's not hot. No. So you're in the middle of logistics and planning. Whereas if you get out of the house and you're walking, it really does, it's like removing yourself from the kind of hecticness of
Hmm.
parenting. And then it opens up the opportunity to just talk about anything you want. For me, it's like when I do go on a quote unquote date, like maybe we go out to dinner, there's something about that time between ordering and then when you actually get your food, when you have that little bit of time to just talk about whatever you
Mm,
want. It's like you've got that time, but like for as long as you want to walk, there's nothing that's
yeah.
going to stop it. The food isn't going to arrive, and then, your mouths are full and you're not talking anymore. I don't know how you eat, but when I'm eating, I can't talk. It's so I'm all down to business. Give me that burger. I'm just going to be eating for the next 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, you even just recognizing that there is a space between ordering and receiving
Mhm.
your food. Usually, I am thinking about when am I getting my food? How come the people next to us got it before us? So I'm not in the best frame of mind to have a
In
great
in
conversation.
that pause. Yeah. Yeah. Your conversation is not very gracious at that
No,
time.
no, it's not gracious.
Where is my food?
I would love to
Um,
hear from you, Janelle, because I know that journaling practice has been something that
mm,
you've been
yes.
committed to for a while. And it's
Yes.
something I want to, I'm kind of like the on and off journaler. So I would
Yeah.
like to establish more of a ritual there too.
Yes, I am a daily journaler, and this is something um, well, I will say, I'll preface this by saying I used to love journaling as a child too. So this is something that I've always enjoyed. So it's not difficult for me. It's not taxing or a chore. I used to love as a kid keeping a journal, or just writing about my day. So it's just something inherently that I enjoy doing. So of course I'll make time for it, but it's evolved. So when I was young, it was more about, just getting out on paper, what happened that day and what my goal, what, my wishes and hopes and, how many points I want to score in the next game, things like that. But now it's blended into memory keeping and I would say planning. So, which planning can include goal setting, it can include planning the week ahead and just making sure that I feel organized. So, I have kind of usually two moments in my day. On a good day, I'll journal twice. So in the morning, I like to sit down with I have it in front of me because it's always with me. So it's almost like a bullet journal if you know the bullet journaling method. Um, so it's a blank notebook, and then you can use it however you need it. So I draw a weekly calendar. So like you can even see here, Monday through Sunday. I draw it in. I put in, so I do that on a Sunday. I'll draw the week ahead.
Wait, I
I'll
just
look at
have
my,
to, that was amazing. That was
thanks.
drawn, like, I mean,
Yeah.
that looks
Yeah, I
like it
have it
was
all mapped
printed.
out. I have a little like bookmark that I took from a page in the back. So it's the same grid and I just marked it out. So I know that I go 24 across for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 30, and then 32 across for the rest. But and so I look at my digital calendar and I'll put in what I have for the week. And then I can just look at it on paper. And then I have my top three. So, what are my top three priorities for the week? Then I have a part where I track daily joys. So I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then every day at the end of the day, this is the evening journaling part, but I will write one thing that brought me joy that day. And then I have a habit tracker. So I set that all up on a Sunday. And then each day, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, following the week, then I will put, right now I just have a to-do list from an earlier conversation, but I will put Monday or Tuesday. Actually, if I go back here, you can see it. Like there was Sunday, and then I just journal for the day or write what happened that day. So it's a memory keeper in that sense, but then also it's my daily planner. So I can see what's happening and I can be prepared for the things coming in the week. So I think I used to have separate journal and a separate
Mhm.
planner, but by combining it, it's been really useful because it's one place that I go and in inadvertently will see the other thing. So I might go into journal and write about the day, but then I'll be reminded, oh yeah, tomorrow I have this because the calendar is right there. Or I go in to set up the week on a Sunday, and then I will go on this long tangent of memory keeping from the week, the week before, things I might
Mhm.
have missed, and I'll do pictures. I might print off pictures or something and put them in there. So yeah, it's evolved, and it's like something that I enjoy doing. I look forward to doing it, but it also keeps me on track, and it's um, been a healthy habit to maintain, not just to get memories out or to get my thoughts out, but to actually feel like I am organized and can
Mhm.
anticipate things that are coming up. So I do it in the morning. And then I do it at night. And morning is usually looking at the week and the calendar and seeing, like, putting my to-do list together. And then the evening is the input of the what happened that day and what was my daily joy.
I am loving this, and I'm thinking, when are you going to publish this? This is amazing. I love how you've integrated the planner, the joy, and the
Yeah.
memory, because I feel like not
Hmm.
only does that bring you joy, but it also helps. Like I'm thinking now that I'm 50, I mean, not that as I turned 50, I started all of a sudden caring about health. I've always cared about health.
Yeah.
But even more now it's like
Yeah.
even more highlighted where I'm thinking about memory and cognitive
Hmm.
function. So I'm thinking about what a great way to practice reflecting on the week and thinking about the things that brought you joy, what activities you did.
Yeah. And now I have these like archive because I was pulling out my bullet journal from 2021 and I was just flipping through it for fun and I found a page where the kids and I had gone to visit my mom and we were celebrating her birthday and we made this Hawaiian cake and so on one of the pages I wrote the recipe of the cake on a page and I decorated it and stuff but like it's just nice to revisit those memories but then also
Mhm.
be like, oh yeah, I have this recipe. I don't have to wait for her birthday to make it. I can make it anytime and almost be taken back to that moment. And that, enjoyment of making it with the kids.
I feel like I need to have more of those visuals. Maybe we can include a little
Yeah.
visual of that
Yeah.
because that sounds like so much fun. It's something I could
Hmm.
totally get into, and I think it's my access to becoming more regular with journaling.
Hmm.
Something else I wanted to ask you is there something that you make sure you don't do? You intentionally don't do something. And
Mm.
I know you were really good at creating boundaries as
Yeah.
an executive leader too. And so are there some things that you could share from your
Hmm.
time then and even now that
Yeah.
you don't do?
Well, I'm not perfect about this. I could definitely be better. I want to be better. So, for instance, I know because of my journaling, because I'll write about it when I'm frustrated that I did it. I know that when I start playing games on my phone, because I love video games. I love video games, and I love games on the phone. So when I start to play a lot of games on my phone, I get sucked in and I'll spend hours and then I won't do some of these other habits in my day that I know are better for me. And so I set an intention to set boundaries around how long I play on my phone, or maybe I there was a time where I was like, oh, I'm only going to do it on the weekend.
Mhm.
But during Monday through Friday, I'm not going to open those apps. Or I'll delete them for a while and then I say, I'm not going to add it back on until next month just to detox from it and to actually break my dependency on it because I really do have a like an addiction to the video games. So I will try not to do that, mostly just because if I don't, it sucks out a lot of time, and then I don't have the space to do a lot of other things like working out, or sometimes I'll skip my evening journal because I had been playing on the video games and I want to get some sleep. So I try to avoid that, but I'm not great at it. And the only way I can actually really avoid it is by deleting them off of my phone. And I do think that can go for anyone, whether it's social media or anything that tends to really consume someone. And then it takes up maybe too much space of your day and you don't want it to. I think the best thing to do is just to eliminate it completely as much as you can. Other than that, I think when I was working full-time corporate, I made habits, and you know this, I made habits in my day where, like, thinking time in the morning, I had blocked out time throughout the day for a meditation or even just quiet time. Sometimes I would think of it as just quiet time, whether it was meditating or even just turning off the computer and just sitting. I used to really enjoy, when we were working, always working from home, I used to like a 1:30, just going outside and listening to the birds outside, even for 5 minutes. There's something so calming about it and a really nice way to then be able to, I don't know, kind of tackle the afternoon or at least be ready for the afternoon. So those were habits that I had, and I had them for quite a while, and they were pretty non-negotiable for me. I really protected them.
Mhm.
And and a lot of it comes down to how willing are you to fight for that protection for any habit, really.
Mhm.
How, if you want to be someone who works out 5 days a week, how willing are you to actually make that happen?
Mhm.
Or when push comes to shove, will you prioritize other things or other requests from other people? Because a lot of times, assuming you don't have a video game addiction, a lot of times what prevents us from doing the rituals and the habits that we set out to do is someone else is asking for our time and we give it to them.
Mhm.
Don't you think? A lot of times, like when I think back, I was giving my time away a lot
Mhm.
and deprioritizing the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, and it gets tricky as a parent because your kids, those little things are quite demanding of our time. Those little shits.
I
They
love
need
that you
all of
just,
our time.
I know. Oh my gosh, I love that you call them little shits because I think that only a parent can relate to that. Like
Yes.
before I was a parent, I'd be like, oh my gosh, somebody calling their kids little shits. It's like, oh yeah, no, they are absolutely 100% little shits. And when I see a kid screaming, having a tantrum at the
Yeah.
store, and the
Yeah.
mom is all stressed trying to calm them down,
Yeah.
I feel for that mother. I'm like, oh,
Totally.
what do you
Yeah.
need? What do you need, girl?
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm like trying to like make faces at the kid to just kind of like help this mom out. Yeah, I'm
I know,
always
exactly.
trying to help.
Yes, they are demanding,
Totally.
and
We've
you're
all been
absolutely
there.
right with this time. I mean, something I really appreciate that with you when you were working as the HR leader for Equity and People. You were the
Hmm.
Chief Equity and People Officer. How our entire department had a block in the morning from
Hmm.
9 to 10 a.m. So it was really
Yeah.
encouraging us to like take that time to think about your day. And you were also really transparent too about like sometimes I use that time if I'm running late and I need to drive my kids to school and not to
Mhm.
have guilt around that.
No, just name it and just put it out
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it really does, when we think about, oh, habits for success, I think everyone would agree that having daily habits or routines or rituals that become, almost second nature,
Mhm.
that are good for us. Drinking a glass of water at the beginning of the day, right when you wake up, moving your body every day, eating vegetables every day. Like there are things that are not non-negotiable. No one would argue that they're good for you. And so the more you do them, the better healthier you're going to be and the happier you're going to be. And so I think everyone can agree that positive, healthy habits are good for us.
Mhm.
And there are things, it starts to become customized. What do I need versus what do you need, Danielle? And we will need different things.
Mhm.
So slightly different tweaks of what our daily habits should be for us to be our best selves. But when it comes down to, there's one, you identify them. That's actually not that hard to identify what things make you your best self. The real challenge is how do we protect them and how do we make sure that we are prioritizing them? And I think, if I look back on the times when I don't prioritize them, it's because I chose to give my time away to
Mhm.
others. So the real challenge is how do you love yourself so much that you will not compromise on those things.
Yeah.
And they are the most important things so that then you can be a better mom and you can be a better coworker and a better manager or better spouse,
Mhm.
whatever the roles you have, because they really are there to help you be your best self, I think, is why you do them.
Absolutely. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this point on time and how people will take your time. When I was working in the corporate space and managing teams too, I would encourage them to think about what is their ideal schedule to
Mm.
start
Yeah.
blocking off time proactively. So I knew that I was best with like review work, copywriting stuff in the morning.
Yes.
Afternoon, I was better
Yeah.
with one-on-ones because they were a little bit more, I would
Yeah.
receive energy from the other person.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean,
Oh, I
working
love
for a
that.
global organization, there's time zones to consider. And so it's not
Mm-hmm.
absolute, like 100% of my one-on-ones and meetings were in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I would look at it and try to work towards about 80% of an ideal schedule and definitely
Mm.
blocking out lunch. I mean, I knew so many people who wouldn't block out lunch.
Oh
And
my
it's
goodness.
like a
I
badge
could
of honor of,
I could
oh
talk
yeah.
about that for ages. Yes. Yes. How many people give up their lunchtime?
Yeah.
They'll still try to eat during that time, but it's rushed. You're multitasking. You probably picking up something quick and easy and likely unhealthy,
Mm-hmm.
because, for convenience of it. But I really think, that's a good thing. Like if we're going to leave something with everyone, it's like make sure that you carve out appropriate time to sit down, be present with your food, enjoy your food, and actually just like take a break. And then
Yeah,
you go into your afternoon, Like
absolutely. I
it's
love.
meant to be, it's meant to be a break right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, before we wrap up, I'm wondering if we want to close with like three things, three
Hmm.
rituals that have worked
Mm.
for you
Yeah.
in showing up as your most authentic, clear, present self.
Hmm. Well, as I've already mentioned, the journaling or the kind of like prepare, I call it planning my day. It is journaling, but planning my day, number one. I know it's a marked difference if I do it versus if I don't. So planning my day. Um, when I'm good about going to sleep at the same time and waking up at
Mhm.
the same time, so consistency around my sleep schedule, when I'm good about that, it makes a really big positive impact. I see a very big difference. Um, and then maybe third habit. Oh, for me, stretching.
Oh, okay.
I feel so good when I take time to stretch my body. Of course, moving it and working out is really important. And I know that I can always find time to stretch. Like sometimes working out seems daunting to me,
Mhm.
but sitting down wherever I'm at, or even standing where I'm standing, if I'm standing in line somewhere, I used to like be embarrassed if I would stretch in front of other people. Now I'm just like in the middle of Safeway, just stretching, like no shame, just stretching my hamstrings, pulling on my quad. Like, yeah, you get to a point where, nothing embarrasses you anymore.
Exactly.
So stretching, if I stretch, and I pretty much do find time every day to stretch.
Yeah. I
What
really
about
like
you?
stretching in front of the TV.
Yes, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
that
Yeah.
is good to, I'm glad you mentioned the stretch. So yeah, for me, it is the walks, the movement. To get to the gym or a yoga class every day is just not going to happen, but I can
Mm,
usually go for a walk. So there's
mm,
that. And the sleep piece, I feel like that that is going to make or break my day. If I don't
mm,
have a good night's sleep, I just wake up cranky. It's going to be a lot more of a struggle for me to have empathy, to be a good listener, all the things. It's like everything just kind of I'm just down. You don't want to hang around me. So I've really prioritized sleep so much that it's like
Mm,
there's things like minimizing my caffeine intake and stopping it by a certain time. So I only have coffee in the
mm.
morning, so it's not still in my system in the evening. I
Oh,
try to eat my dinner like around 5 or 6, like a grandma, so
yeah,
that by the time
they
I go to
knew.
bed around
They knew.
9 or 10, I've digested my food.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it's all around sleep. Even like at night, I will
Hmm
dim all the lights. And we would have
hmm
this joke. I mean, I don't know if Scott started this or the girls started it when they were really young, but there's the doshas from Ayurveda, which mean your mind, body, constitution, and the pairing of space, air, fire, water, and earth. So the pairing,
Mm,
the five
hmm
elements are called doshas. So they would always say, like, whenever they turn the light on, right, at night, they'd be like, oh no, this isn't good for mommy's dosha. That's right. Turn that light, you little shit.
You
So
little.
it's all like
Turn that down. This isn't good for
everything
mommy's
has to be,
dosha.
yeah, everything has to be for mommy's dosha. So the lights have to be low, the sound has to be low. It's all
Water has to be warm to drink.
bedtime, bedtime routine. Yeah, bedtime routine is so important to
Uh,
me.
I
Um,
love that you went into the actual breakdown of the routine of the bedtime. That's super helpful because for me, the first starting point is a consistency with the time.
mm,
But I think what you've described helps with maintain actually getting to sleep at the same time. Like if you have this whole lead up where things, it's like when you have kids, like a lot of times you have a evening bath, right? And that triggers
exactly.
the bedtime coming up. We need that as adults. We need like, turn your screens off, wash your
Absolutely.
face, whatever it is, whatever the evening routine is, but have it in these steps, almost like a mental checklist or a physical checklist, and then get those lights off at that time and
Mm-hmm.
get your 8+ hours of sleep.
I know. So that is definitely a big one. And then lastly, something that I make sure I don't do
Mm.
is respond to people in the evening. So when the sun
Uh.
sets, it's kind of like when I start to set, the wind down routine takes a couple of hours. So if I get a client message like, hey, are we
Uh,
on for tomorrow? I'm like, I mean, if it's a simple one like that, then I'll respond. But depending on how much of my brain it's going to take, where I have to open my computer and start to look at something, I don't
Mm.
go there. Scott and I made a pact too, where we don't talk about finances in the evenings.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but then here's the problem because then he's like, okay, so you don't want to talk about this at night. You don't want to talk about this in the morning. But you never want to talk about this.
Never. I'm with you. I don't ever want to talk about them either. Let's just quietly log into our accounts separately.
Exactly. Don't talk to
And
me.
don't discuss anything.
Yeah, well, it's so fun talking to you about this topic, Janelle. I know we'll
Yeah.
bring this up again, habits, rituals. Um, and I'm just really grateful for everyone who's listening. If you chose to listen to this or watch this video, make sure you follow us and leave a review, or you can chat with us on Instagram at Coffee Unlimited with J and D. But Janelle and I will be brewing up some more topics.
Yes,
So
we will.
let us know what you want to hear, and we'll do our best to talk about those.